Here's what most people don't know about President Ibrahim Traore. There's a young man in Africa who, in just a few years, has gone from a little-known army captain to one of the most watched and most targeted leaders on the continent. His name is Ibrahim Traore, and his story is one of survival, defiance, and an unshakable vision for a new Burkina Faso and a new Africa. Born in 1988 in Bondoukoui, a small town in Burkina Faso, Traore grew up in a country long weighed down by poverty, coups, and instability. But unlike many in his generation, he chose a life of discipline and service. He entered the military, trained as an artillery officer, and soon became known among his peers as a man of principle, a soldier who spoke little but thought deeply. By 2022, Burkina Faso was on the edge. The country was crumbling under the weight of terrorism. Jihadist groups controlled almost 40% of the territory. Thousands of people had been killed, over 2 million displaced, and the government, led by Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, was failing to deliver on its promises of security and reform. Then came the turning point. In October 2022, at just 34 years old, Traore led a faction of young officers in a bold and unexpected coup. They ousted Damiba, claiming the government had betrayed the people and failed to protect the nation. But this was not just another military takeover. This was the rise of a leader with a mission. From the first moment, Traore was under fire, not just politically, but literally. At least 5 assassination attempts have been reported against him since taking power. In December 2022, there was a coordinated plan to storm government buildings and seize control. Intelligence services intercepted the plot just in time. Several conspirators were arrested. In September 2023, another coup attempt brewed within the military ranks. Officers close to the presidential guard tried to stage an overthrow, but once again, the plot collapsed, and arrests followed. In January 2024, a chilling plan was uncovered, an explosive attack on the presidential palace during a national football match, when the country's attention was elsewhere. Security forces foiled it in the final hours. April 2025 brought fresh threats. Intelligence networks picked up whispers of a major coordinated assault on the presidency involving both internal defectors and external mercenaries. The plan was crushed before it could unfold. Each attempt was more desperate than the last, and each time Traore emerged not just alive, but stronger, more determined to push forward. But what truly sets Traore apart is not just that he survived. It's what he's done with his survival. He moved swiftly to kick out French troops from Burkina Faso, breaking decades of military dependence. He turned to regional allies like Mali and Niger, countries facing the same terror threats and political pressures, and together they formed the Alliance of Sahel States, a new regional bloc determined to chart its own future without foreign interference. Traore called out the legacy of colonialism still embedded in the West African economy, especially the CFA franc currency tied to the French treasury. He signaled openness to new partnerships, including Russia, looking to diversify Burkina's alliances and break free from what he called colonial slavery. But his vision was not only international. Domestically, Traore cut government salaries, scaled back privileges for politicians, and rolled up his sleeves to walk among farmers and everyday citizens. He launched aggressive recruitment drives to build the volunteers for the defense of the homeland, local militias that would join the military in fighting terrorism in rural areas. He spoke with fierce honesty. "We are ready to die for our country," he told his people. "We will not back down." And the people responded. Young Burkinabe flooded the streets to chant his name. Social media platforms across West Africa exploded with images and slogans celebrating him as a hero of African liberation. At international summits, Traore often received the loudest applause, the most electrifying energy, a symbol of rebellion against the old order. But the story is not without shadows. Human rights organizations have raised concerns over crackdowns on dissent, the silencing of opposition voices, and the shrinking space for critical media. Reporters have disappeared. Critics whisper in fear. Traore's government has faced accusations of using its anti-terror fight as a cover to centralize power. Yet for many in Burkina Faso and across Africa, Traore still embodies a rare kind of hope. The hope that leadership can mean sacrifice, that sovereignty can be reclaimed, and that a nation long crushed under outside control can rise again. Through it all, the assassination attempts continue. The threats, the plots, the betrayals, they swirl around him like a storm. But he remains at the center, calm, defiant, focused. Here's what most people don't know about President Ibrahim Traore. He is not just fighting for his presidency. He is fighting for the survival of Burkina Faso. He is fighting for a new Africa, one that is sovereign, independent, and free to determine its own destiny. They have tried to kill him. They have tried to remove him. But today, Traore still stands, and the world is watching.